be your trainer for this section for data science class. Before I start, let me introduce myself. My name is Ujunwa Edum. I work as a data analyst, and my core skills, and I'm a graduate of statistics. So my core skills are data science, machine learning, data visualization using Power BI and Tableau, sometimes Excel, and statistical data analysis. So today I'll be training you people on, we are going to be starting the class. We are going to be starting the training for data science. So because of the time we've spent, we are going to rush into training immediately. I hope we are okay with that. I'll be sharing my screen immediately. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I think it's better I share on my screen. It will be better. Okay. I would love to know, okay, let me do a little survey to know people that are very much new in data field. Like if you are new, like a beginner, I want you to type, I am new. If you are not new, I want you to type, I am not new. At least it will help me, give me direction on how to do the training. Please, I want us to answer or give response on the comment room. Like 5 seconds. I will take the survey and continue. Okay. I am new. I am new. Wow. Okay, that's nice. Okay. Back to the training. From the little survey I did now, I observed that most of us are new, like very much new, beginners. Let me put it like that. Most of us. So I would start from scratch to an extent. So people that are not new, it would be an advantage to you. At least you will get to understand some things, or it will help you to sharpen the knowledge that you've already gotten. So being that most of us are new here, we will not, today is the beginning of the class, and I would love us to lay a solid foundation before we go into data science proper. Because if I enter data science, truly it will look like Spanish language to most of us. Hello? Okay. It will look like a very new language to most of us. So I will start by asking, what exactly do you understand as data? Like, once you hear data, most of us, once we hear data, we'll be looking at Excel tabular data that they will put numbers and in rows and columns. So that's what most of us understand as data. And I believe that most of us that went to higher institution during your final year, yeah, before you graduated, you defended a project, and a part of the project is called data analysis. So I believe that most of us have come in contact with something related to data analysis. So it's not basically new thing to most of us. So what is data? We hear about data everywhere. We hear about data wherever, even the MTN subscription we call it data and thereabouts. So in a normal language or in a layman understanding, it's funny, but I'll say that data is like the physical world you are seeing. If you look around you, there is data everywhere. Do you understand? Okay, for instance, I'll be like, can you please give me the list of top most expensive things that are in your room? If I say it now, most of us would bring in items, giving items that are in their rooms. Do you understand? Some will write bed as their most expensive item, some will write TV. And let me say, if all of you finish writing and I collect it, what have I collected? I have collected data. Do you understand? So everywhere around you is data. Whatever you see is data. If you move outside, you see cars moving, is data. Red cars that moved are like 20 red cars that moved in 20 seconds, something like that. You are collecting data. So data is not something new, shouldn't be something new to any human being, any grown human being, let me put it like that, because we see data everywhere. You get? So let's move on. At least with that, we've gotten a little understanding of what data is. Like, it will no longer look like a very cumbersome, a very big word to us. Data is everywhere. If you look at it a little bit, almost everyone living on earth is a data analyst, because for you to make your decision, you checkmate, you compare, with this decision go, which one should I take? You compare many things and you make the best decision. What you did was data analysis. So even in your thoughts, you do data analysis. So data analysis is like a day-to-day activity to any normal human being. But now we are going to bring it down to technology, the technical aspect of it. So let's move on. Okay. So what I wrote here, data is just a piece of information with an entity. What do I mean by an entity? For instance, now I gave an example. Help me collect data, top 5 most expensive things that are in your room. The entity there could be you as a human being. Like, the things you are collecting is attached to you. Like, you are the person. Like, if I want to compare the data that has been collected, I am comparing it by you. Mr. A brought this, Mr. B brought this. Do you understand? So collection of data with an entity should be attached to an entity. Do you understand? So data can come in form of a number. It can come in form of a text. It can come in form of words. Like, and as I said before, anything you see is data. Do you understand? The sand you see on the ground should be called data. So data can come, even the text messages you are receiving, you can analyze it. Even the emails that you are receiving, they are data that you can analyze. So data can come in form of words. I just want us to understand that data is not only numbers. Data is not only those things that they send to you either in CSV file or in Excel file, then they tell you to to download those figures that are in table, rows and columns. They are not the only meaning of data. I believe at least we've understood that aspect. At least it will give us a little view, or rather give us an understanding of what data is all about. So raw data, all these things that you are collecting, they are raw data. Like, they are meaningless, or else you analyze it, you clean it up and do the rest of them. So they are meaningless only when interpreted does it have meaning. So, for instance, if you move out, because you don't want to interpret whatever you are seeing around you, they seem to be meaningless. But if you go on a mission, yes, I want to collect data on so thing. If you are seeing it, they are meaning something to you and you are collecting them. So that's what I mean by this. So data, I hope today we are just going to dwell in data so that the foundation will really be solid. So that when we start mounting the blocks of data science, it will sink. It will be understandable. So data life cycle. Whenever you think of data or you want to interpret data, you have to plan like you already have it in mind. Yes, I'm going on this mission to get data. Then you capture the data, which is the same thing with data collection. There are many ways of collecting data. You use survey, you use whatever other any means you wish to use. There are many data collection softwares now. You know, we are in digital years or a digital world, let me put it like this. So most of our work, some things that you're supposed to do manually are already put in software. So there is Kobo Collect, is a data data collection platform, and the other data collection platform, I think Google Form is a data collection platform, and other what have you. So you go out, collect data, and in collecting data, there are two types of data when it comes to collection. There's primary data. Primary data is the one you go on your own. You interview people, collect the data like questionnaire method, physical questionnaire method. You collect data, you ask them questions, explain to them why you want to collect data. At least you will get a level of sincerity. Do you understand? So there is secondary data. Secondary data is the type you, like World Bank have their data. You can just click www.worldbank blah blah blah, you get data. So that one is secondary data that has been already, they've been collected and stored in database, so you can easily collect it. You are not the one that went out to search for the data. So data side. There is data maintenance. When you bring in data, you don't just analyze it. There are some things you have to do, which we are still going to talk about. We are still going to talk about data cleaning and all of them. So data usage could be data analysis, where you analyze your data. After analyzing your data, you publish it for the mission of collection to be accomplished. You understand? You just get data and analyze it without having objectives. Why are you even collecting this data? You be mad person. You understand? You go out, collect data with a mission, with a vision, with a purpose, with an objective of what you want, the problem you want this data to solve for you. So you archive it, you store it. Database could be a form of data archival platform. You store it. There will be a point of data storage. Let me say data you collected 1990, whatever. The data is supposed to have been outdated. Even if you want to do historical data, you can't go back then because that generation is not the same thing. Definitely, if you run analysis with that year, you get a wrong result because the trend has shifted. The trend of many things are no longer the same. So those data that have been, you've archived, they've been used for the purpose and you're very sure that it's no longer in usage, what you do, you delete them. And that's just the circle. When you want to collect another data, you plan, go out, capture. I hope you people understand this data cycle that I just explained. So this is just how data move around. Just like human being, when they give birth to you, there will come a point the person will die. That doesn't mean that another human being will not still be born. So another human being, they will give birth to another human being, and just that's the cycle. The cycle will keep moving. I just hope people are getting me. So the types of data, I've explained to you data, what data is all about. So there are types of data. There is qualitative data. There is quantitative data. Just literally looking at it, you know that quality. Quantitative is related to quality. Quantitative is related to quantity. You understand? So quality is just talking about characteristics and attributes. You are collecting data for, is this person tall? Is this person average? Is this person medium? Or anyhow you want to put it. So you are collecting data based on attributes. Is this person fair? Is this person dark? You understand? So you're collecting data based on the attributes you are seeing. You're collecting data based on the characteristics that you are seeing. So you would refer it as qualitative data. And inside qualitative data, there is nominal data and there is ordinal data. Nominal is the kind of data, it is not quantitative, it's not numbers, but as in you cannot order it. Unlike ordinal data, if you are like, for the example I used here, ordinal data, before you count two, you will count one. So they are ordered. For instance, short, medium, and tall, they are ordered. It's either you go by ascending order or you go by descending order. So they are ordered. Nominal is the quantitative data that is not ordered. I hope we understand. Then quantitative data. If you are flowing with me, I just want you to put a comment on the chat room. At least it will let me know that I'm really communicating, please. If you are with me, just type in something on the chat room, something like I am following. Yeah, okay. Okay. It will help me know that I'm communicating. Okay. Okay. I can go on. So, quantitative data is quantity. In a layman understanding, quantity, you are talking about numeric data, like you are quantifying something. You understand? You can measure it. So you are quantifying something. So in quantitative data, it's either you have a discrete data or you have a continuous data. Discrete data is it is specific. Like in collection of data, I'm going to switch a little bit. In collection of data, there is something we call open-ended question and closed-ended question. It's either is yes or no, or you write whatever you want to write. So let me bring it back to this discrete data. Discrete data is, you are pointing out, like, you can't say that this thing is point, so. Like, is discrete? Which other language, which other terminology would I use? Okay, let me read out what we have here. Like number of students. You can say that there are 2.555 students in the class. Do you understand? So should I call it integer and float? Yeah, it's a little bit related. So you can't say there is point blah 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 for students. So you are specific. This is the number of students we have. For continuous, someone can have weight of 5.6 kg. This point, this kg, and that point might linger. So you are the one to bring it back to decimal point. So it is continuous most times. So I hope we understand the difference between these discrete and continuous data when you talk about quantitative data, and you know the difference between nominal and ordinal data when you are talking about qualitative data. Let's move on. So after knowing what data is all about, now let's dive into data analytics. We hear data analytics, data analysis, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to define this one is definition of data analytics. For the people that also ask me that question, what is the difference between data analytics and data analysis? If you go to Google, you will see many thousands of contradicting meanings. Like this person will say that this is this, you will see another person that will say that this is this, you'll be confused. I advise my students, don't bother like searching for definition. The best thing for you is to understand it, know the meaning. So I would say data analytics, data analysis, they're a little bit interwoven. So I can call it, you can hear me call it data analysis, you can hear me call it data analytics. So I'm saying that data analytics is the branch of any data related stuff. Then data analysis is a subset. So I'm saying that data analysis is the umbrella. Then data analysis is that's their definition. So, but for this class, if I say data analysis, if I say data analytics, please understand what I'm saying. They are almost the same thing. So data analytics is a process of examining data sets in order to find trends, draw conclusion about the information they contain. So when you are doing data analytics or data analysis, as the case may be, It's just about you transforming the raw data. You know, when data is collected, many things, they call it shelves, everything will just be entering, because I told you people that everything is data. It's when you collect it, you filter it into the relevant information. After filtering it, you can analyze it using the right analysis to use. After analyzing it, you will conclude and get an insight from the data. When the data is being given to you, for the case of this class, we are going to be doing more on quantitative data. We are going to be handling more of quantitative data. Qualitative data, we are going to be handling when we want to talk about classification analysis. That's in data science. So let me come back to where we are. Okay. It's a process of just transforming data, filtering data, cleaning data for it to be useful for you. Just the process of that you're collecting of data to the point where you are getting you've gotten insight from the data. You understand? So that process, from the point of even planning, having the thought of collecting the data, to the point where you've collected the data, you've analyzed the data, you've drawn conclusion from the data, you've gotten insight from the data, you have reported the data to the stakeholders that sent you on the mission. So the last end of the process is called data analytics. I'm not much of a should I call it literature person that will tell you, oh, yeah, define this one, the advantages or disadvantages. So it's not necessarily needed in this field. What they need is your technical ability to get insight from the data. Do you understand? And the ability to interpret the data to a layman to even understand. So those are soft skills. But let's come back where we are. Careers that are involved in data analytics. There is data analyst, there is data scientist, there is database administrator, there is machine learning engineer, there is data engineer, there is financial analyst, business intelligence analyst. This came to a point, I remember when I was still job hunting, I wanted a data analyst work. I'm just chipping in this story for at least, in case if you are there now. So indeed, we are sending many these things. So it came to a point, I noticed that the JD, job description of the role of data analyst that they sent, it's almost the same thing with the role of data scientist thing that they sent. So you see, all these things are a little bit, should I call it names that they have? There are people that call them, there are companies that call their own qualitative analyst or quality analyst, quantity analyst. So all these things are names that most companies give to them. So if you look at the job descriptions, they are, please mute your oh, please, let's try and mute this thing, please, so it will not. So all these things are just career. Do you understand? The job descriptions might be a little bit as an interwoven. Okay, but to define it, since all of us, since it's as though we want definition, I want only. Who is this person now? Please mute your mic, oh, it's very important, so you will not distract us. Thank you. Okay, for a data analyst, is just collecting the data, cleaning it, transforming it, and getting insights from the data. Then data scientists, I advise people, before you think of being a data scientist, at least you should have passed the level of data analyst. Data scientist and machine learning engineer or what have you is like an advanced analytics, an advanced version of data analysis, because there in data science, you will build model and predict. So you build model with machine learning algorithms. I people seeing how they are interwoven. You build models using, most times you use machine learning algorithms. There, a machine learning engineer have come in You understand? You build models using machine learning algorithms, then you predict. So business intelligence analyst should also be a data analyst, because the businesses that you're analyzing, you need a data analysis skill to be able to use it. Then business intelligence analysts use more of visualization. We use more of visualization to do his or her analysis. Do you understand? And a data analyst would definitely still use visuals to drive home his or her point, because the stakeholders that you are going to meet, definitely most of them might not be data professionals. It's just like carrying data analysis or carrying Python codes that I've coded for my data science project, carrying it to go and meet. Who am I going to meet now? A manager that is just business, whatever. The person will not understand what I'm saying. So most times we use data visualization to explain and use words. That's why you have to have a good writing and speak a good writing skill to drive home your point, and the ability to explain what you have done, so that the stakeholders will be able to get insight. Because when you start a project, they will give you their problem, the problem that they have. They will give you the objectives that they want to achieve. So if you are running the analysis, you have that objective in mind. This is the main aim. They will not tell you that they want to predict, and you are there wasting your time doing another analysis. They tell you they want to predict. So whatever you are doing, your end product should be moving down to modeling, and you cannot predict without having a model. So it's when you have a model and you've checked the accuracy of the model and the accuracy is okay, then you can model and present the model to them and present what you have predicted to them. So if their mission is just for you to help them compare their sales of 2000 and the 2000, from 2000 to 2020, you see what you are doing is more of comparison. So there you will use more visuals. Using the right visual, you explain to them in the trend from here. See, the trend is moving up, is moving down. I just remember crypto. Crypto, they use line graph very well. They will know when there is dip and when there is no dip. So all these things is just data analysis. You understand? So let's move on. Skills that are needed. I've mentioned data visualization many times here. You need you have to understand data visualization very well. You can, for instance, you cannot come and use shouting colors and use shouting background again. Do you understand? All this color, whatever. That's why most things that they taught us in school, even starting from primary school, the application is here. After school, you see yourself using some things that you ignored in school. Then you'll be like, this teacher is wasting your time. Where will you use it? You are seeing yourself using it right now. So database management. Yes, you need database management skill. That's why in this course, the main thing that we are going to be dealing with, teaching you people, we are going to be teaching you people data visualization, and we are going to be using Power BI platform. There are other platforms that you use for data visualization. There is Tableau. You can use Excel also, but we are using Power BI because of the advanced nature. Do you understand? And being that most companies around us use more of Power BI. So if you get a skill on Power BI, learning others will be very easy for you. So we are going to be touching Power BI, data visualization using Power BI. Database management, being that our area, we considered what is feasible in our environment. Most companies use relational database system. So that's why we are going to be training you people on SQL. SQL is a language which you use to query a relational database system. So machine learning, as I explained to you, that data scientists use machine learning algorithms to model. After modeling, they predict. There comes machine learning. So you have to get machine learning skill if you are planning to be a data scientist. Data cleaning. You should have ability of cleaning up your data. When you get a raw data, there are so many errors. So you have to get that technical skill of cleaning up your data for it to be satisfied, for it to be okay, good for your analysis. Because if you run analysis using just that raw data, the kind of error that you will get, even if your accuracy might be tending to negative because it will not be accurate. So you have the ability to clean up your data, ability to collect data, extract your data. So most times for a company, for organizations, their data is being stored in database. So you have to have the ability of extracting the particular data you have inside database, that inside the relational database, and there are many databases that have been stored there. Inside the database, there are tables that are stored there. Inside tables, there are columns and rows that are stored there. So you should have the ability of extracting the particular data. Maybe the stakeholder will be like, help us analyze on the sales that our sales representatives are getting. Help us compare from 2000, let me use 2000 again, 2000 to 2020, you understand? They didn't give you data, they just gave you access to their database system. So you have to have the ability to put the right query. There are many data inside database. So to know the right query that you use to extract that particular data that is needed, because you can't extract all the data, or more the data will even chase you away because there are so many data everywhere. So you have to know the kind of data you want, the ability to extract it from wherever it is needed, it is stored. So data collection, to know whether you are going to use primary data method or secondary, whether you go out, push out, survey and collect. Maybe they want to do product survey to know how their customers, people that are using it, are faring. You can push out survey. You understand? This kind of one, you not go and be checking it from database or from their sales. You want to know customers' experience using the product. So it's advisable you push out survey, or you use any primary data platforms that you use. You collect people's experience via using it, then you compare, run analysis to tell them that so amount of your marketers or of your users are very much okay with that. I know that Google Play Store used to do it. If you push out your platform there, people will rate it. Do you understand? It's from the rating that they will keep it back. So all these things are data analysis. Do you understand? So programming language for data science, which we are. Remember, the course we are dealing with is data science. I just decided to lay a solid foundation before we start data science proper. You understand? You can't be talking about data science when you cannot even visualize data. You cannot be talking about data science when you cannot even extract data from SQL or even extract data from some necessary data sources. Do you understand? So it's better we know that one before we enter data science, so it will not be very difficult for us to understand. So the programming language for this data science we are dealing, the major, I'm not saying that there are no other programming languages, but the most popular programming languages that we use for data science is R and Python, of which Python is the best, is better. Let me put it, is better because of so many reasons. When we enter data science, I will explain to you why Python is popularly used and why it is better. So soft skills, I believe we know what soft skills mean. So you need to have the ability of problem solving. Do you just see things and be like, make this thing they go you? So you should have a problem solving skill. You should be a critical and analytical thinker. Do you understand? You should have a good presentation skill. The stakeholders they are going to, after running the whole analysis, you need a presentation skill for you to present it to the stakeholders. They were not there with you when you were running the analysis. So as you are getting your insights, you're putting it in a presentation platform, either PowerPoint or any form of presentation method you want to use to be able to communicate it with them. So you need to have a good writing and communication skill, and you need to be a type of person that pay attention to details. Very, very much important. You should be able to identify when there is shift in trend. Do you understand? So you should be able to pay attention to details. It's very much important. These are just a little bit of some skills that are needed. There are other basic technical and soft skills that are needed, but these are the ones that I could think of for now. Okay, the types of data analytics. So if I say data analysis, say data analytics, nobody should bury me, or just understand as we are moving. So we have four major data analytics, four major types of data analytics. We have descriptive, we have diagnostic, we have predictive, and we have prescriptive. It follows by the name. I believe all of us understand English. It follows by name. Descriptive describes, you understand? It helps to find insight, to understand what actually happened in this data. Do you understand? It explained what actually happened in the data, because you are getting insight from maybe from visualization you did. You notice that there were more of male than female during so month. You understand? So you are doing descriptive analysis. So maybe you'll be like, why are there more male than female in March, whereas in May there were more of female than male? All these things, now you are getting the idea, you are getting insight. Do you understand? So that's what descriptive is all about. It's asking you what happened in this data, what is happening. So diagnostic is, you are like in hospital, if you go, they'll diagnose something to you. So it's asking you why is it happening? Why is all these things happening? Do you understand? From you knowing why all these are happening, then you will be able to, as in you are diagnosing the data, let me put it that way. Then predictive is you are predicting. I know I've been talking about you are predicting the future. You are predicting what is likely to happen, following the data or following the historical data that has been given to you and running the analysis and modeling it. You'll be able to predict, okay, since this is happening by this time, that means in 2022 that so thing is likely to happen. Remember, all these things are estimates. You are just estimating. This is likely to happen. So it will help the management or the stakeholders to plan ahead. Do you understand? To plan ahead. Maybe you predicted, let me say, sales of products. So with the model you've created, the stakeholders or the management will be like, this profit is not much. Okay, we want to make profit of 100 million next year. Then they would know what they're supposed to do for them to likely get that 100 million gain. That's why most companies have data analysts or data scientists, as the case may be. Then prescriptive, you are now prescribing. With all you've done, you'll be able to prescribe. This is what you are supposed to do. You are asking, what do I need to do? You are prescribing a solution. So with data analysis, you will be able to prescribe solution to the stakeholders. I've talked too much. Are you following? Please. Can't see your screen from my end. Wow. It's only one person that cannot see my screen. Who else can see my screen? Please, I need your comments. Okay. Emmanuel, why can't you see my screen? Maybe try and log out and log in again. That would help you. Hope you guys are following or the classes. Are you people gaining something from people that have known it before? I believe you people already know this, and I know that something is being added to your knowledge so far. For the newbies, I think I'm starting from a very solid background, building a very solid foundation for all of us to excel. Note of the class, Jane. Okay, listen to the class very well. If you listen very well, you won't necessarily need the notes. So pay 100% attention. Learn as if after this, there is no other opportunity for you to learn. That's the best way to learn. Learn 100% with 100% attention. Don't really hope for notes. So I can't answer that question for now. Okay, let's move on. So steps that are involved in data analytics. And I've been saying it gradually during the previous, when I've been explaining previous slides. Before you talk about data analytics, like you want to run an analysis, you understand? First thing that will come to your mind is you will understand what is the problem that these people want to solve. Even if you are doing it for your own personal use, maybe you are running a data analysis for your own personal use. You have to ask yourself some certain questions. What do I need to achieve from this analysis? If you are dealing with stakeholders, definitely both of you will have a first meeting before you run an analysis, especially in a very big organization. Before an analysis will be done, there will be meeting upon meeting upon meeting before you set up for the analysis. So in that meeting, you understand the problem that is going to know whether they need prediction or whether they need comparison. Do you understand? Or whether they just need modeling, to just have a model that they'll be using time in, time out to be able to predict for the future. So you need to understand the problem that they want to solve. And it's advisable you ask a SMART question. I know most of us know the meaning of SMART. S means specific. Be specific about your question so you get a specific answer to it. You have to ask a measurable question. Is this data, how can I get it? Like, the data you're getting is supposed to be a little bit measurable, or rather measurable. You understand? So you're supposed to ask a measurable question. Supposed to ask an action-oriented question. Is very important, and they're supposed to ask a very relevant question. Don't just ask anyhow question, ask relevant question, because you are embarking on a serious journey. Then your question supposed to, or whatever, supposed to be time defined. This analysis, how many months is it going to hold? Is it a 1 month project? Is it a 2 month project? Is it 2 months project? Do you understand? So it will help you to plan ahead. Okay, from there you're writing your projects, is it reports or timetable, something like timetable. You say from so I will use 2 days to gather my data. It will help you in planning, so you would deliver an effective and efficient work. So after you've asked the question and you've gotten the right answers and you've noted the answers that you've gotten, so the next thing you do is data collection. You gather your collection, your data. This is where you decide how you can gather your data, how you can collect your data. This is where you will choose the data source that you are going to use. Whether your data source is whether the data is on Excel extension or Excel file, whether it's on CSV, whether it's in notebook or something like that. Just know how your data is going to be collected. So This is where you decide the right data you collect. Assuming you are going out for primary data collection, you can't, maybe the scope of the project is on female gender. You can't go and be collecting data from males. Or the scope of your data collection is only youth. You cannot go and be collecting data from someone that is 60 years old. So all these things are what you need to know for your data collection. Then the third step is data cleaning. When you have collected all this raw data, this data cleaning is very, 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 very much important. So any work you are doing on, be it data science project, be it machine learning project, be it sentiment analysis, be it natural language processing, any data related thing that you're doing, this data cleaning is very much important, because if you make mistake or if you do a wrong data cleaning, it will affect your results and it will make you to get more error in your data analysis. Yes, we know as human beings that error is inevitable, but what we do in statistics or data analysis is to reduce the error. At least even if there is error share that will come out, let it be very, very much insignificant. Do you understand? It's just like you having the number is supposed to be 1 and your error, what you got was 0.89. If you look at it, it's a little bit insignificant, because when you reduce it to decimal points, it will still come back to 1. So at least the error you're getting, let it be insignificant. So these are what you do in your data cleaning. You clean up any missing values. In data science projects, there are some columns that they will give you. Let me say the row is, let me say 1,000 rows, and almost 800 cells or rows are non-available data. They don't have data on it. What will you start doing? So it's advisable you drop that column, because the column is irrelevant. How can you give me a column that is almost empty? Do you understand? So sometimes if the missing value of the row it's insignificant, let me say you have 1,000 rows and only 200 so I call it cells are missing values. So there are many data replacing methods we use. It's either you replace it with the mean of the column, or you replace it with the mode. Do you understand? You replace it with, we call it in statistics, central tendency, measure of central tendency, mean median mode. So you can replace it with any of them. It will not really have much effect on your analysis. So it depends on the number of error that you have in each column. So let me say you have only 1 error. Why will you use because of 1 non-available data or 1 missing data and drop the whole column? Now, so you just replace it with the mean. Most times we use mean. It will not really affect the results. But if you have much, I'm rephrasing what I said. If you have much, at most, you have up to 70% missing values. So you drop the column and work with other columns. So as I said, in data cleaning, you are removing missing values. You are removing duplicated data. For instance, they wrote, my name is Ujunwedun. In one, let me just say that collecting names of people. Then I came and wrote Ujunwedun. Came another place and wrote Edum Ujunwa. Do you understand? Or I wrote Edum Ujunwa with capital letter. Came another row and wrote Edum Ujunwa with small letter. Or I gave 2 spaces. You know, all these things will affect that. It will bring it out as 2. Or let me say you are filling a Google form and you press submit, you think it didn't enter. You press another one, you press another one, you press another one. Most times from the back end, we will receive up to 4 rows bearing the same data, having the same data. So all these things are what you check in data cleaning. You check for duplicates. If they are really duplicated, then you drop the duplicated one and pick one out of it. Do you understand? So we are still in data cleaning. As a matter of fact, in data analysis, that data cleaning take more of the time. At least it take up to the 60% of the time, because that is the cocoa. If you clean your data well, and being that God has been so kind that in this digital age we are using software, it's not like in university that we are punching calculators and cramming formulas. Yeah. So once you clean your data, what you need is just click, 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 click. Answers will just pop up for you. So all thanks to technology. So duplicated numbers, irrelevant data, as I explained. You told someone to go and collect data on females, and the person went and collected for even bisexual, collected for Bobrisky and co. Do you understand? So you just pick for the relevant data, drop other ones. If you don't clean your data, how are you supposed to know that they are irrelevant columns, that are irrelevant data that are here? So all these things are what you are checking out for in your data cleaning phase. What else are we checking? Conversion. What example should I use? Let me say you collected data on weight of people, and you notice that some data were given to you based on kg, some were given to you based on gram. So you will not run analysis with that. You have an error. We will have much error. So it's better you convert them. Another thing we do on data conversion, in data cleaning, when it comes to data conversion, let me say you collected data on dates, and that date came as, we have data types, we'll still talk about that, but let me a little bit talk about it. And that date came as a string. Do you understand? For people that don't know what is string, calm down, you will still know it as the time comes. So you're supposed to convert the data to times, either timestamp or change it to time. Do you understand? So it will help your data analysis. Or maybe you collected data on how will I explain it? Like this data collection that we do on Google Form. If satisfactory, write 1. If non-satisfactory, 2, 3, 4. If it's a poor this thing, write 3. You understand all these classified data analysis? And in the data you loaded, it came out as numerical. It's not supposed to be numerical. It's supposed to be a string. Because if it's a numerical, then it means that you can sum it up. So if you're running the analysis, most times it will just sum it up for you and you'll be getting wrong analysis. So you're supposed to push it as a string or a text, depending on the platform that you are using to do your analysis. So all these conversions are what you need to do in your data cleaning. That's why I say data cleaning takes almost 60% of your data analysis time. What else are we taking? If I remember, I will say it. Okay, for you check out for space. For instance, I wanted to write my name, Edum Ujunwa, and mistakenly I clicked on space, Edum, space, Ujunwa. You understand? So all these spaces are counting as characters. So you are supposed to look out for it and remove all the unnecessary white space or all the unnecessary spaces that are in your data. Because if someone writes 1 and another person writes space 1, both of them are not the same thing, no. In most of data platforms, both of them are not the same thing. Space 1 and 1 are not the same thing. 1 point, maybe someone writes 1 dot and another person wrote only 1. They are not the same thing. So you have to check out for all these things and clean it out and put the right one. And another thing you are doing in cleaning up, maybe the person you gave out that Google form. I'm using Google form because that's what most of us use. And maybe the person didn't classify the options. Maybe you put it as an open-ended question. Which country are you from? One person wrote Nigeria, full meaning, full spelling. Another person wrote NGR. Another person wrote United States of America. Another person wrote USA. Do you understand? So all these things are what you will use. Maybe you ask for number, someone wrote 1 as numeric 1. Another person wrote ONE. So you have to check out for all these things and correct them. So all these things are what you do in data cleaning. Also, you check out for outlier. Let me say the range of your data you collected on a norm is not supposed to reach 1,000. Let me say, how old are you? And one person wrote 1,000 years. is an outlier. It's not needed. It's really out of the world. Someone cannot be 1,000. So you have to know whether the person is wanted to write 0 and the 0 refused to stop pressing and it continued to press to 1,000. You understand? You check it. But if you are not sure, then remove the row. So you not run analysis with the wrong data. You understand? And that's basically the little I can remember. So data cleaning is really a whole lot of work because you are moving around the data. Cleaning it is just as if when you are doing cleanup in your house, you are lifting the chair. You are lifting the chair and you are cleaning up debts. You clean your TV and everything. So that's what you do in data cleaning. You clean it to be attractive, for it to be good for analysis to an extent. So the next step is data understanding. This part is very much important, though you have done a little part of it when you were asking your questions in the first step. You need to understand the data you are running analysis for. You cannot tell me that you don't know any, even aircraft terminologies, and they gave you aircraft data for you to run. You don't know the ones that they're using, or you are not in engineering sector and they gave you data on engineering. You will not really understand most of their terminologies and even understand maybe this machine is not supposed to give any value that is above 10. And in your data, maybe you are seeing 200, 300, 400. If you don't understand that terminology or even understand the machine, you might think that all those 200 and 300 are good data. But if you have an understanding of what the sector or what the data is all about, it will help you in your data cleaning process. So it's very important for you to understand most of the terminology of the data, because they will give you many columns, and those columns, the column names are their terminologies that they're using. You understand? They're using their terminology, so you need to understand. The one you don't understand, that's why you have stakeholders. You call them and ask them, please, what is this one all about? If need be, go to Google and understand what it is all about. So another point is data exploration. You are exploring the data. Data exploration is just you exploring the data, trying to find insight from the data. From your data exploration, you'll be able to know that there were more male than female. You were able to know that there were people of older age that attended this event than people of younger age. From your data exploration, you'll be able to know that people that earn above 150 were the people that made more purchase on this product than people that are earning below 100,000. Are you getting the point? So during this data wrangling, sometimes we call it data wrangling, we call it data exploration. So anyone you hear, you can hear data munging, you can hear data wrangling, you can hear data exploration. anyone you hear, they are talking about the same thing. Just you exploring the data to find insight from the data. Which one? Transformation. Don't mind me, I try to use illustration in explaining myself so that it will not really be like as if I'm just defining some things that you just go and cram. So it's better I use illustration for at least if you see it in real life, you understand that, oh, so this is what this small girl was talking about the other day. So data transformation, which example should I use? For instance, they gave you a data, and the data, the problem they want you to solve have relationship with the profit the company made. Maybe they want you to check the profit that they made from, or the amount of sales that they've made, or something like that. And the data they gave you have unit price. Like each of their product, this is how the unit price of them. And then they gave you quantity sold, but they didn't give you the amount they sold it. Do you still need to call stakeholders to ask them, hey, you people didn't give me the column that is talking about the amount you people sold, and you're asking me to find the profit? No. That's where your mathematical skill will play out. You know, for you to find the amount they sold, what you have to do is quantity times unit price. You find the amount they sold the product. So in transformation, you will create a new column and do mathematics. This column times this column should give me this column. So all these things are doing data transformation. Do you understand? So you are using, this is just an example of the transformation. There are other transformations that you do in data analysis, but this is just the one that my head can remember. Bear with me. So data analysis, this is where you now do your data analysis based on the problem they want you to solve. If they want you to do only comparison, you can do it here. You either use correlation analysis, use any analysis you know that is required for the problem or the objective of the problem. What am I saying? For the objective. So data visualization. This data visualization now, thank God I put communicate result. It's not the same data visualization that you were doing when you were exploring the data, when you were modeling the data. This data visualization is the one that would be more user-friendly, because the people you are giving it to, the people you are presenting it to, they were not there with you when you were running the analysis. So you are going to present the data in such a way that even when you are not there, they will be able to understand, oh, okay, this means that the trend in 2020, we had more sales. Why did it come down in 2000? You understand? All these things are now personally getting that insight, even without you being there. Then they will now look, then when they have management meeting, they'll be like, from the analysis our data analyst or data scientist ran for us, we noticed that we didn't make more sales this year. What happened? Then they'll start looking for the reason. They might be like, it's because of COVID. They'll be like, okay, let's do promo. At least promo will make us to have more sales. It will bring back our customers. So now they're bringing in marketing strategies because of the analysis you have run for them. Do you understand? They will be like, okay, maybe from the analysis you ran, they notice that most of their customers are from this leg because they've not made any, they didn't have customer from the east. Okay, they'll be like, okay, what are we going to do to get more customer from the east? Maybe they will be like, okay, let's have a mini branch around east and put marketers there. It will help them to expand their marketing or expand their business. Now they are thinking, because of what you have analyzed their data, looking at the data on that database or on the Excel form, looking at the data in rows and columns. Nobody, are you Jesus Christ? You will not really understand what the data is all about. You cannot just get insight looking at rows and columns. It's all this wrangling, transforming, exploration. Definitely when you have cleaned up the data, that would help you to analyze it and help you to communicate the result very well to the stakeholders, and will help the stakeholders to make the right decision. Understood? Are we understanding? Are we still together? Hello? Am I still speaking English? Okay. So this is basically what we do in data analytics. Even if you are doing data science, you will pass through this step. Do you understand? Even if you are using Python. In Python, once in data science, once you import data, you try to know the columns that have non-available data. You try to know the data types that all of them are using. All these things, you are cleaning up, you are doing data wrangling, you are doing data exploration. And when need be, you do data transformation. And these things is same thing we will do when we start using Power BI. So let's move on. Please, if you have questions, just try and note it somewhere. So that will not, if I say ask your question now, maybe we'll leave the main purpose. So another thing, if you are talking about data analytics, you will do these three things. ETL, I know all of you have been hearing ETL, what is this ETL? ETL simply means extracting of the data, transforming the data, then loading it for data analytics. I know we have bakers here in the house. Let me bring it down to baking. You bring your sugar, bring your flour, bring your milk and whatever. You mix them. When you are bringing all of them, you are in extraction method. You are bringing whatever that is needed. Transformation is when you start mixing and mixing, know the one to put and the one not to put, the one to remove, the quantity to put and the quantity not to put. You are transforming it. You are transforming it for it to be suitable for us to eat it, for us to have a wedding cake. You are transforming it. Then when it's okay, you do your baking and present to us a finished work of your cake. We don't know what you did when you were transforming. What we know is that we are seeing cake to eat. Do you understand? I don't know other field that I can use to explain it. This is the only field that came into my head. Others, bear with me. So coming back to data analytics, data extraction is you, as the name implies, you are extracting it, you are bringing it, as in drafting it or extracting it from different data sources. So any data analytics work you are doing, you must extract data. Data no go fall from heaven, come down. Do you understand? So you extract the data from whichever data source that the data is. If there is no data and you need to do primary data collection, you go out on your way and you extract data. Data is the raw material that you use for data analytics. So data must be extracted. So when you extract the data, that you're cleaning up, transforming, manipulating, which other English, pre-processing, munging, all these data in English, data cleaning, data munging, data this one, data wrangling, data manipulation, data pre-processing, all of them are inside this transformation stage. So when you are finished doing all your cleaning and the rest of them, you present to the data warehouse the finished work of the data. Like I present to you that this data is now good for analysis. Then you do your analytics with the data that has passed through ETL. So I think this picture even explains it very well. This picture is this POS software. They are stored in database, this one. Then PDF is unstructured data. Okay, that reminds me, let me talk about structured and unstructured data. It's not in my slide. That's why I say it's better you listen very well than expecting notes later. Data structured data, as the name implies, is data that is structured, data that is tabulated. They are organized. Do you understand? They've been organized inside rows and columns. Tabulated data is called structured data. Then unstructured data like PDF files, email, social media comments. You know, we analyze comments on social media. So we do data analysis with that. We use NLP, natural language processing methods, to analyze it. You can call it sentiment analysis. All these ones are unstructured because they are not really organized inside rows and columns. I've explained structured and non-structured data. So let's move on. Okay. I've been saying that you do the necessary data analysis. I'm just bringing in a little, some of the data analysis that are required. These are not the only data analysis that you can do. Regression analysis, even when you start doing data science proper, you will come across regression analysis. There are many machine learning algorithms that are under regression model. Regression analysis is a model, is a predictive, or rather a modeling, which English should I use? A modeling analysis. Sorry, bear with me. So regression analysis, this is where you check for relationship between two variables. In regression analysis, people that are already acquainted with that, people that study statistics or whatever, you must have come across regression analysis. During regression analysis, you have to have your independent variables or variable. Then you would have a dependent variable. Dependent variable, as the name implies, it depends on independent variables for it to function. So it's just like the model being like B is equal to, sorry, A is equal to 2B plus 6. It's like a model. You understand? So that A is depending on the value of 2B plus 6 for you to get the answer. So your A is your dependent variable, depending on other ones that are after your equal to, they are your independent variables. So the second one is classification analysis. Classification analysis is when you are modeling, or rather when you are analyzing data that need outcome that is classified. Maybe they want you to model, you are modeling, or you are even analyzing for, which example should I use? Customer churn. Maybe banking sector want to know want you to analyze and predict their customer churn, whether this customer will return and whether this customer will not return after the first transaction. So the outcome is either the customer will return or the customer will not return. Do you understand? So the outcome is classified. Unlike regression analysis, example of regression analysis, if we want to model or analyze for, which example? House price. The house price in Lagos State. Do you understand? So house prices are not classified. It's either 1 million, 2 million, 2 million point 50 kobo, blah, 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 blah. So it is not classified. But classification analysis is classified. It's either the output is this or is this. It's either the output is this person is short, or this person is medium, or this person is tall. So you are not getting any output that is outside these three things. So then you use classification analysis. So assuming your stakeholders told you, please help us and analyze and know these customers, whether they will come back or whether they will not come back. You will not stress yourself trying to use regression analysis because it's going to be a waste of time. When you have this kind of problem, and after cleaning your models, cleaning your data, making it very good for analysis, being that you've understood what it's all about, what you will use is classification analysis. And when you're doing classification analysis, you have to use classification models and algorithms to model it. So that's why you have to understand all these things. Then another one is time series analysis. Time series, it is like you are identifying the trend or the seasonality of the data. Most times when you are analyzing data on time series, it's supposed to be historical. I remember my undergraduate project was on crude oil production in Nigeria, daily crude oil production in Nigeria. And I collected data way back from like 2004 till that year. So I have, before you are doing time series analysis, it's advisable to have much data. Do you understand? You can't just use let me say you want to just do time series, you just collected from January to February. It will not really give you a good trend, or it will not really give you much insight on the data. So when you are dealing with that time series data, you want to find the trend, you want to find the seasonality, you want to find the pattern of the whatever you are finding, it's advisable you use very much range of historical data. At least it will help the machine or whatever to learn and understand the trend of how this data. Either you know that maybe in past 10 years, once it's January, that the crude oil production used to be high. Once it's February, in all the years, it will help you can understand the consistency. Do you understand? So cluster analysis. In machine learning, clustering method and model is classified under unsupervised machine learning. You will still talk about that when we enter data science proper. Clustering is just you clustering, as the name implies. So maybe they gave you field of data, group of data, and they want you to maybe analyze, let us know people that our best customers, like help us, let's know, how will I explain it? Let's know our customers. With that, maybe you will use the sales that the customers purchase per, do you understand, based on the time range given to you. You might range it that people that purchase things of total thing, as in total sum of whatever they purchase is up to 1 million, should be classified as high profile customers. People that purchase so things should be medium customers. This one should be low customers, something like that. So you've clustered them, you have segmented them into groups. Sentiment analysis. I talked about sentiment analysis. For example, when you want to analyze customers' feedback on the product, customers are not, sometimes to make analysis easy for people, especially for people that are just data analysts. We use, if it's satisfactory, say 1. If it's not satisfactory, say 2. But if you really want to get a customer feedback, their complaints and whatever, you use sentiment analysis. Like you're telling them, open your mouth, wow, just pour it on us. So we'll be like, this your market, they're not doing well. If you purchase this one, the thing will not last for 1 month. It will not. That you just give them open check, say whatever you want to say. You understand? After doing it, you use NLP, natural language processing model, to analyze their comments. That is how that one do. It will draft out the major words. I think that one is not really a major word. There's what we call it in natural language. It will draft out emotions. Draft out whether this comment is coming from the person is sad. It will draft out this person, maybe the person used I am satisfied. The analysis will present it as this comment is positive. Do you understand? Maybe this person said your product is bad. Computer know that bad, or the analysis know that bad means na negative, is tending to negative. So it will draft it out as negative. So when you finish doing the analysis, it will divide it into positive, neutral, and negative. Yeah, positive, neutral, and negative. Maybe the person's comment, the product is just okay, or no comment, something like that. It will bring it out as neutral. Do you understand? So you can use sentiment analysis. You can also use sentiment analysis. Where else can we apply it? In social media, let me say Twitter. This is the type of one that all these, though Nigeria is not yet developed, but I'm sure that USA, once they're doing their campaign, they have data analytics group in their campaign group. People that check people's comment on Twitter, they will bring out the data, apply for Twitter to give them the data. They will know people's comments and know, are we winning on social media? Should we campaign more on social media? Should we face so people on social media? Do you understand? So it also helps in campaign, in election campaign. So they use more of this sentiment analysis. Cohort analysis. Like all of us are now in this group, we are in one cohort. So you know, cohort, on normal definition of cohort is like a group of people who share common characteristics or common attributes, something like that. But the major thing is that is during a given period of time. So during this period of February to so when this project and this training will end, we are cohorts. We are in one cohort. So cohort analysis can be done here by comparing this cohort with subsequent cohort. From there, they will know from the character of these people, maybe from our project, that these people gave more output than this cohort. So all these things, you are doing more of behavioral analysis to analyze the behavior of these people in this cohort, behavior of these people in this cohort, and all the rest. That's why when you are asking your question, that's the first step of data analysis. You have to understand what your stakeholder actually wants. If you don't understand what he actually wants, you will use the wrong analysis technique to run your analysis. These are just the few among many analysis techniques that we use in data analytics. So here is data analytics application. For most of us that are new, you'll be like, I know I've been mentioning some of the applications. At least you know the applications of this skill that you are about to learn, where it is applicable. I've been mentioning it as I'm explaining because I've been using illustrations to explain my point, to drive home my point. We use it in retail and sales. I now have given an example of you want to know how your sales was, whether there was profit, whether there is no profit, how you use these analytics. You understand your customer needs. With the analysis you will do, you understand that there is rush in December. So in December, because you've run the analysis in December, you stock your warehouse with that product, so you not run out of demand. You understand? You will not run out of demand. That's why it's very much important, even if you're sole proprietor, try and in business terminology, they call it stock. It's important to take your stock. It's very much important. That stock you are taking is analysis. You are extracting your data. Know how many products you have. Know how many products you sold per month, even per day. If you sell anything, write it down. It will help you. It will help you to visualize and even predict, okay, in so months, in so year, where would I be? Where will this business be? If I increase my product, if I increase my sales to this amount, which so amount profit will I be making? You understand? So it's very important. It helps you to understand your customers' needs. It will help you to predict the trend of the sales. On a norm, maybe I'm using business because I'm an Igbo. So on a norm, there is always rush in December. So every December, businessmen, they stock their shop because there will be high demand. So it will be unfortunate that you have customers but you don't have the product. So are you seeing where data analysis is applicable? In banking sector, wow, those people, they use data and because they generate data every time. They generate data. Okay, for instance, I'm a little bit deviating. You want to come and withdraw money, they'll tell you that there is no service. There is no service there means that they cannot access your data. They cannot access your data that is on their server room. You understand? So they are not able to know whether you have so amount that you even want to withdraw. So they will tell you that there is no server. Sorry, there is no service. And true, there is no service because they cannot access your data. They cannot access whether you have so amount. They cannot access whether the account number you are giving them is the right one. So yeah, I see where data is applicable. So sorry, banking and financial institute, let me join them together. They use data analytics for loan defaulters. For instance, someone wants to come and collect loan of so amount. Yes, the person brought collateral. They still need to run analysis to know if this person is creditworthy using his data that the company already have. Maybe they will check how the kind of credit the man has been having previously, check if he will be able to return this loan, or rather they will use previous loan collectors and just analyze and know whether this loan, the person that is collecting this loan is going to be a loan defaulter, or whether the person would return the loan. So they use it to check for loan defaulter. They use it for customer churn. Maybe they notice that people are leaving their banks to another bank. They will use it to know, why are these people leaving our bank? Is our interest rate much? Is this thing, is our just check, is it that our customer service is poor? Is this not that? Because of the data that they've been collecting. So they use it very well in banking sector. So they also use it in fraud detection. Yes, you use data analytics. Most times we use machine learning for false defaulter. I know, I wrote it, fraud detection. Yes, we use it. For instance, Merchant has understood that, how will I put it? This person used to log in only work hours. This person have never logged in so software once when it was midnight for how many years? So all of a sudden the person logged in. Do you understand? There are some softwares that help to use it. I know when I worked with a software company where we deploy software, we have a software that we use, and I remember we deployed the software in many banks. Example, Wema Bank, we installed the software in their head office. They use the software to detect fraud, wrong logging of in their workstations. The software will give it as a red flag that there is something, there is an anomalous whatever that is going on so place in so person's workstation. Do you understand? They will know that there is fraud going on. This is just an example of the fraud that they can detect. There are other fraud detections that they can actually do. Or maybe, I know that in banks, there is an amount that you go and withdraw. Maybe this person has been withdrawing 1,000. All of a sudden, 2 million will enter the person's account. The thing will give it as red flag. Maybe they'll tell the person, no, come to office.
I remember when Davido did whatever, Wema Bank looked for him, though they know that it's not fraud because it's on social media. But this is an example of what others face. There is an amount that will enter your account. Maybe they will just block your account temporarily for you to come and do some clarification, because it's an abnormal thing that it has not happened in your account and it suddenly happened. So back to healthcare. You can use data analytics to predict diseases. You can use it to analyze patients' data. Maybe from the data, a good hospital that used to collect health history of their patients. Maybe they collected that I'm not really a medical person, so I might really be wrong with some numbers I will be using. Maybe they check that this person's cholesterol, whatever is this, and this person's which other terminology? Blood, whatever is this person high blood pressure is this, and from the other previous records that they've been having from other patients, that once your cholesterol is this and this one is this one is this, there is tendency, there's possibility that this person will fall into this sickness in no long time. Because they've been collecting data, they'll be able to analyze it to see futuristic events that would happen with the person that is with this number or with this outcome of results. So that's where data analysis comes in place. And others, I know this COVID period brought out data analytics skill. People were predicting, people were running analysis to predict. So all these things. So that's why almost all the fields need data analytics skill. They really need it. Even oil sector, they need it. Which other one? Weather forecasting. You can use it to forecast the weather. As the name implies, you can use it to forecast the weather. Insurance, you can use it for claim, what do they call it? So people that will come and claim their insurance and people that will not claim. You know, many people that their company pay for their health insurance, but they've not been in the hospital for God knows when. So with their analysis, they will be able to know people that will claim. So people that will not claim, they will add it to their profit. Okay, that means this year we are going to make this profit. That means this year we are not going to make this profit. So insurance companies, they use it very well. Hope I'm not talking to myself. I've been talking too much. Can you all hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, human resource, manufacturing. They use it very well in manufacturing which illustration should I use? They will be able to know amount of product that they will buy and number of labor that they will buy to maximize profits. It's not by having 100 labors and having so number of products that you will maximize profit. So with analysis, they will know the number of laborers that are needed, and they will use it, they will produce the best product and they will still maximize profits. So they need data analysis. Which other sector? E-commerce, they need data analytics. For vendor analysis, they will be able to know their vendors that their products made higher sales, the products that had highest CM that people looked out for, their product that is just almost the same thing with sales and whatever. But e-commerce, at least they have many vendors, so they will do vendor analysis, especially once in a week or once in a month, depending on the e-commerce platform, to know if this vendor is not doing well or people are not buying his product. Why then are we occupying our website with his or her product? They will drop this vendor and look for other vendor that will bring forth customers to them. So they use data analytics. The last but not the least, I know I talked about predicting election using sentiment analysis, so they use it very well. HR, they use it. There is something they call, is it employee analysis or HR analysis, something like that. So they check for employee attrition. Why is this employee leaving? They will check from this year, maybe this year they will run 2021 analytics. They will maybe know that people are leaving because they're not getting promotion. People are leaving because of their, maybe because they've stayed long. Maybe they will run analysis and notice that people that have been leaving are people that have stayed in their company bigger years. They will compare and do some analysis. They will know that people that are leaving are just people because they've stayed long in the company. People are leaving maybe because their pay is not much, or they're not getting any promotion, or people that are leaving are more of male than female. Then it helps stakeholders or the management to make the right decision, maybe to improve on their human capital management, or just know what to do to keep the company going when it comes to employees' welfare. So I think I would stop here, so I'll be able to take questions. It will soon be 12:30. So what haven't I touched? Okay, that's that for now. So data analytics is very, very, very much important, which can be used in almost all the sectors, even some sectors that you will never imagine they use data analytics. So far, they are generating data, and I don't know how a company or a business would run without having data or generating data. Data is being generated almost every time and everywhere. So that's the summary. Thanks for listening. I would pick some questions before 12:30. I'm watching the time. Okay, let me start sharing for now. Back to class. So is there anybody that wants to ask question? You can raise your hand, then I would point you. I'm waiting. Any question? There should be question. Please. Questions, please. You can just raise your hand. There is button for raising of hand, then I'll call you. I'm waiting. Really? Can you all still hear me at all?
Yes, ma, I can hear you, ma.
Okay, I want to accept question. So before the question time, I just remembered something. By next week, we are going to be entering Power BI because of our time. We've at least have laid a solid foundation. So I would advise each and every one of us to download Power BI Desktop. So it will help the class to flow. At least if you are seeing what I'm doing, you'll be practicing it. I'll advise people, practical knowledge is very, very important in this field. Theoretical knowledge is not really much. It's important, but it's not really much important. Practical knowledge is very much important. So it will help you to do your project and even help you to, and really help you to build your profile. So if you don't know about GitHub account, I will advise you to go and look for it and create a GitHub account. It will help you to be building your technical profile. So download Power BI. We are going to be starting with Power BI next week. Maybe we handle it for 2 Saturdays. Then upper week we enter SQL. So when we finish SQL, we can now enter data, Python programming language, then data science. So time for questions, please. Ask. Just raise your hand. I will call you to unmute, then you ask your question. Don't be shy. Please ask question. Okay. Ujuma, wow, my namesake. You can ask. I'm waiting.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you so far. As in, you've done well. You've done pretty well. My question is, anyway, I understood everything you said, but I just want to know when the next class will be held and if we need to download all these we've talked about, all this app that you talked about, like Power BI and Python. I don't know whether there is an app for Python also. Thank you.
Okay. So you are going to download Power BI desktop. The good news is that all of them are open source softwares. You will not need to pay. So go to Google. Okay, for Power BI, I will advise we use, if you are using Microsoft, you can go through Microsoft Store. So when you open that place, they wrote type here. For people that don't really understand their computer, there is somewhere they wrote type here. Once you type Microsoft Store, if you click it, then type in power. As I type in power, it will bring in Power BI. Download Power BI desktop, not Power BI service, not Power BI mobile app. Download Power BI desktop in your computer. It will be easier for us to flow next week. I don't know how you understand next week's class if you don't have Power BI. Everything will not, you will think it's entering, but from experience, practical knowledge helps. It helps. You might think you are understanding, but when you go back, you will know that I've not understood this, But if you are doing it as I am doing, at least just be catching. If you go back after I finish training you, you would understand, okay, this is why this girl did this, so this is why this small girl did this, so you'll be able to understand it. So wherever you are, try and download Power BI desktop. For now, when we start SQL, I will send the process that you use to download my SQL workbench. That's the relational database system that we're going to be using for SQL language. Then for Python, you download Anaconda. I will not advise download Python, but if you already have Python and you can understand it, it's your own. But I prefer Jupyter Notebook, and Anaconda IDE have other IDEs that are inscribed inside it. You can use, there is Jupyter Notebook there is R there is VS Code inside Anaconda. So why would you be downloading one after the other when you have a platform that have almost all of them inside it? So, but for now, one step after the other. For now, what we need for next class, which is Saturday, is Power BI desktop. I'm repeating this desktop. Power BI desktop. Let nobody come and tell me they told me to put my account number. Power BI desktop is an open source. Okay. Which other question, please? I'm waiting. I need question on what I've explained so far. It's very important to me. I like feedbacks.
Don't type in this thing, ask question, just raise your hand. I might not really see what you've typed. Be bold enough to ask questions. Nobody is a child here. Just please raise your hand. I'll give you the audience to talk. Sophia, you can talk. Unmute yourself and talk. Sophia. Yeah, you can talk. Just unmute yourself. Sophia, talk. Oh. Really? Wow. Ujunwa, you can talk. Anyone that... Do I need to press something?
Okay. Thank you. Maybe she didn't click on that on mute. Maybe she made a mistake, or maybe she doesn't know where to click. Okay, my question is you talked about presenting your this thing, as in when you are done visualizing and you present your report. So I'm kind of thinking, is it like, will you write it? Will it be in a written form like an essay, or from that your visualization you will have to explain what you've done there? Because you talked about someone knowing how to write well, that as a data analyst, you must be a good writer. So I'm not asking whether you have to write it down and put it down in an essay form, or you speak up, like you explain it verbally. I don't know whether you get my question.
I got your point.
Okay, thank you.
I brought out that point. If you are doing your analysis like you are practicing, you don't need to present it to anybody. But in a real life working environment, they have departments. Maybe this project now, the project manager knows that this project, people that are handling it are data analytics or whatever name they call it, department. And inside that department, they might have many things inside department. I'm bringing it back to in a very big organization, or rather in a real life organization. When you finish running the analysis, you will go to the project manager. The project manager would be monitoring the stage you are. That's the work of project manager or product manager. Then when you are done, the project manager will fix a meeting with the management and the stakeholders. When they come for the meeting, none of them were there when you ran your analysis. None of them might even understand the analysis you ran. You understand? Like as me, you ran a statistical analysis and you checked for R squared, especially when you are using regression analysis. You check for R squared, and we know that R squared runs from 0 to 1. And from your analysis, maybe your R squared was 0.5 or 0.89. And you just come and write it that your analysis is like what you got from the performance matrix of your regression analysis is 0.89. None of them will be like, which one is 0.89? So now it's now left for you. It's better once you put that 0. You explain to them that since regression and R squared, this thing runs from 0 to 1, that 0.89 means that it's close to 1, which means that your accuracy is very much okay. So this you are explaining to them, you are putting it in a layman understanding that even if you are not there to explain to them, they will understand, okay, is this what this girl is talking about? So you have to have a good presentation skill. It's very much important to be able to present it to the stakeholders or the management. Go on.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I understand.
You're welcome. Sophia, I want to hear your question. I don't know why you cannot talk from now. Now, if you will log out and log in, it could be network. Any other question? I need a guy. Okay, let me check the chat box. Question time, please. Okay, Sophia, can you repeat the process of installing Power BI? You can go to your Google and click download Power BI. But if you are using Microsoft or if you are using Windows OS, it's advisable you go through Microsoft Store, because Power BI is a Microsoft product. The full name is Microsoft Power BI, is their product. So if you are using Windows, and you know that Windows is their operating system, so if you are using Windows, it's advisable you just go to Microsoft Store. If you click there, it will show you all their products that you can use on your system. You understand? Then you type in Power. Just as you're typing P, it's bringing out, it's extracting all their products that starts from P. By the time you finish typing Power BI will come out. Power BI service, Power BI this, Power BI this. So click on Power BI desktop. But if you cannot use that, maybe you're not using Windows OS, you're using Ubuntu, Zabi, Linux, or you're using MacBook, you can easily go to Google and click download Power BI on this OS. Even with Windows, you can say download Power BI on Windows. It will just bring out the options and the steps. If you have issue with that, you can chat me up on the group chat. My name there is Suju. So you can ask your question there. I'll direct you. So I believe that answered your question, Sophia. Any other question, please? Any other question?
Yes, good afternoon.
Okay. Good afternoon there.
So, my name is Olayinka. Okay, please,
Okay.
I want to ask, we talk about descriptive analysis, prescriptive, and predictive. So, which out of these analytical tools did they use for predictive analysis?
Use for which of them did you come?
I say, which part of this analytical tools, I'm talking about Excel, Power BI, Python, which of these tools do they use for the predictive analysis?
Okay. Is there any other question? So
No, that's all. So that's all.
Okay. What I explained, you can call it types of data analytics. Do you understand? Or you call it anything of data analytics. As in, so any data analytics you are doing will definitely hover around these four things. Assuming you are asked to do comparison, you are doing more of descriptive, because from comparison you are trying to know maybe gender wise, you are trying to compare by gender, age wise you are comparing by age. So descriptive analysis is what you are doing. You are describing what is happening. Do you understand? So when we are asked to predict, if you are asked to predict, you will definitely move around, do data exploration, thereby doing descriptive analysis. You are doing descriptive, you are diagonizing, like you are seeing, oh, this is what is happening, what are we going to do? So any data analytics thing you are doing will definitely hover around these four things. Not as if that there is a particular tool for, if you want to do only descriptive, you use this tool. You want to do this one, you do this one. It's just like any data analytics project you are doing will definitely hover around these four phases.
Okay.
Did that answer you?
Okay. Yeah. Yes, you answered me very well.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other question? I hope the class was really insightful. At least you learned one or two things, especially for people that have already known it. I am happy that people consider those that are very new in data professional. I'm waiting for either one extra question, so we'll call it a day. Sophia, I hope you heard what I gave as an answer to your question.
No, I just came back on.
Okay, you asked, or you can re-ask
Hello.
your question, so I'll get it from you direct. So I can get the primary data from you. Ask your question direct.
Good afternoon. Okay.
Afternoon.
Okay. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for the class. I really
You're
enjoyed
welcome.
the class. I loved your teaching method, the whole explanatory stuff. It made it more real. Okay, so I wanted to ask the app that we're supposed to install, the Power BI.
Yeah.
I think you were like explaining to someone how to install it, where to find it. So that's what I wanted to ask. That if you could just give a, how did they put the English again? Account of how to install it, because I heard you say not something, there was something else. So I wanted to be sure.
Okay. If you want to install Microsoft Power BI, there are two options. Either you go to Google and type download Microsoft Power BI desktop. Power BI desktop. Then it will bring out options, or rather how you would download it. You click on download. Okay, let me know if I can show you people the interface, or is it necessary? Oh, the thing takes time to load, Sha.
Yes, please.
So it will take time. So if you download it, if you open it,
wow.
the interface is yellow, yellowish. So if you download itself, you will know that you've downloaded Microsoft Power BI desktop, because you will see the name there. Or another option, if you are using Windows OS, that's their Microsoft operating system, go to Microsoft Store, as in that down part, is it down left of your computer where they wrote type in something here. You will type in Microsoft Store, or you go to your setting and search for it, or wherever you want to search for it in your system. Microsoft Store. Once you see it, you click it. So far you're using Windows, definitely that's only why it will come out. Then if you click it, it will bring out options of some of Microsoft's platforms that you are using or you can use in your system. Then type in, there will be a space for search. Type in Power BI. But as you are typing the power, it will be popping up. Do you understand? So type in Power BI desktop. I'm emphasizing on desktop. So you click on it, download it. That's that. That Microsoft desktop cannot work on Android though. I heard some people asking, can we use our phone? Some brother, you cannot use your phone. It's not Android version. The name itself will tell you that it's desktop. They Kukuma put it for you there. Microsoft Power BI desktop. So you will definitely run it on desktop.
Any other question? So I think we would call it a day. We've reached. Okay, see you guys next week, Saturday, I think. Bye. Do have a blessed weekend. Bye.